you guys have seen the pictures. Obviously, this time versus the last time, there's a lot more siding. You will see that there's some void in the siding on the front. That's partly due to the door, partly due to siding material being available. And I hope you can see that one of the things that we did, and Rick pushed for it, was that each of the fairly visible windows actually has a fairly decent crown above it to kind of make it stand out. And all of these windows are going to get shutters as well. And I believe they're going to be black, so to really kind of keep with the trend of the previous house, and it'll still look really nice. You can kind of tell that the house isn't perfectly white, that the field of the siding is more of a bluish grayish, but the doors and the windows and the crowns are all in a bright white. So we're pretty pleased about that. We really think that it turned out really nicely. The one thing that you'll see is that the door on the what used to be the garage is actually central, and that is because it is going to be the main. It actually goes into the main hallway, and it's also the main handicapped access entrance. That's part of the reason you see the small deck and the large cement block underneath it. This is going to be the actual handicap entrance. This is the primary access for that ADA compliance. So the front door and the ramp that used to exist for the ADA access is gone and it will not be replaced. We're going to have a really nice porch out front because we can. This the side door takes that replaces that function. And we'll go through the front door. I'm sure you can kind of see the oval window and some of the other faux vents and soffits and things like that. You also note there's a giant black pipe sticking out of the wall. That's for the fire suppression system. When the city actually has to come and hook up to it, if in fact there's that type of an event ever again, that I should be able to hook up and plumb to it. This should be a decent shot of the oval window and the front door, and obviously our current ramp for our builder. And then actually I'm going to keep walking just a little bit further to kind of show you where the old chimney and old stair access was, which is gone forever. There's no third floor. There's no third floor access. But in place of it, you see the bump out for the fireplace and the actual. We've got a gas fireplace. It's all direct vent, and you see kind of that silver block out there, and then of course the solarium off to the side. As Rick mentioned on the call, this whole house is one block higher. You don't really tell, but when you get inside, you really can, especially in the basements. It's really beautiful. Feel free to ask questions as we go through. Hopefully we can maintain cell data and battery.
Kevin, is the side access door that's going to be ADH compliant wide enough to handle like a wheelchair?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's all. Yeah, no, it's just of order. This whole house is built to R3 level compliance, right, Rick? It's ADA compliant. When you look at our drawings to the city, we're an R3 and an R1 zone, and that R3 dictates a lot of different characteristics. But yes, everything's ADA compliant. There's a couple different things that are associated to that. So like some of the bedrooms, well, I shouldn't say all of the bedrooms have that access, have that width. The first floor bathroom that was kind of down this main first hallway, yonder, not only has the width, the roll-in shower, the laundry capabilities, it's got everything. So this first floor is really fully ADA compliant. And in fact, one of the things that was, I'll say it sarcastically, but it's kind of a nice as a check, is the guy who's our builder is actually in a wheelchair. And he rolls through here daily. So it's kind of if there's anybody who's going to be passionate about that topic, it's our builder, Frank, and he's made sure we're 100% compliant. Selfishly, of course, which we're okay with.
Okay.
Yep. Any specific other questions as we just kind of walk through? I know Tom's doing a good job kind of walking around and showing, we kept the living room function the same. All the windows are the same size, at least through this house. We've got like 6 windows, and I think 50 of them are all identical in size and shape and function.
Are you still going to have a founder's room?
Meaning the old kitchen.
Yes.
Just from a footprint layout, yeah, absolutely. In fact, you can kind of see some of the insulation up, and it's a little hard to see right now. But if Tom follows me, it's this room. So it's a little odd, and it's got a little odd-shaped windows. But this is a room that does not have a closet, so therefore it is not a bedroom for code dictation. So yes, this would have been the old kitchen. It looks this gorgeous window to siding, which is fine, but it does let a lot of light into this room. But yeah, this is founder's office, workspace, something to that degree. Yes, this room is still in that same size, shape, and is not turned into a bedroom. Where you guys want to go? You want to go down the main hallway? Sure. All right, so we'll go kind of bedroom by bedroom. This room got reformatted. This is right off the main hallway. One of the big changes, and I think I noted it in one of the videos before. This what used to be loft room, if I remember correctly. The closet for this room actually goes into the main foyer. We don't have the double door anymore, and that closet area would have originally been dual closets, left hand, right hand, and now that closet is part of this bedroom. And we believe this to be the bedroom that would be more, if in fact there was an ADA reason, this would be that bedroom. And then immediately off to the left, and it's really hard to see in here because it's completely dark. This is going to be the main bathroom for that sort of ADA function. Roll-in shower. You can't tell, but the floor actually drops down about an inch, so you have full roll-in. There's a huge roll-in shower, bathroom accessibility, and then actually it's got a washer dryer set up for laundry capability as well. And then this is that giant black pipe that goes out to the city for their fire suppression hookup. Obviously, I hope it's never needed, but if and when, we have it. Continuing down the hallway, this would have been where witty room or rat's breath, whatever you knew it as, and then garage, and then hall of shields. This is that area. It is now none of those things. And that's why we need new room names, because this is now actually 4 specific bedrooms, and then the door that goes out to that 88 ramp that we saw before. You'll notice that there's a lot of pink foam or pink insulation in between the rooms in the hallway. That was specifically called out and put in just because we assumed that this being one of the main access doors on this hall, that these rooms could potentially get the coldest, so these rooms were insulated the most. And I don't know if you can tell by camera, but there is actually spray foam insulation on the front north-facing rooms, just because above it is the attic space / storage space. So that whole area was over-insulated and overdone in a good way. So we're pretty pleased. I don't know if you guys can tell how quiet or how you definitely can't tell how temperature sensitive or lack thereof this building is, but like the sound is incredible. This is, while it'll semi look the same, it's a completely new house. It's absolutely beautiful. We're really excited about it. So there's these bedrooms. I can pause. We can either go up, we can go back. Your choice. Finish first floor. Okay. So going back to the main foyer that you would enter into, we already showed you for the most part the living room. Obviously, these are the stairs that Rick talked about. That'll be its own separate contractor to do that. It'll be a nice open rail going all the way up. I think I talked about it in one of the previous videos. They're actually a little bit further back than the original set of stairs, and that's partly due to the fact that we leveled out the whole house, right? So when you go up these stairs to the second floor, everything's completely flat. There's no other second landing sort of setup. That all is smoothed out. We still will have a women's bath, which is going to be this one. There's no longer a strange window in it, but it is better sized, reapportioned, and still will be dedicated women's bath. The other thing to note, I think previously And like I said, the stairs kind of moved. So there used to be the access door down the stairs to chapter room. That door and where it's positioned has been completely relocated to the back side. So we have a straight shot through and down. So it kind of changes the layout of what I think used to be called game room. This area, this space, but it's definitely a safer drop down into that main old basement. And yeah, let's see the other major change. We moved the sliding glass door that used to be where this window is now. That got reallocated to the kitchen. We'll go there in a minute. But obviously, this is now just a window. So if you guys remember the leaks that used to happen between the two buildings, impossible at this point. That whole roof got reshaped and done appropriately. The other thing that we're doing, which we're pretty kind of pumped about, is when you enter into solarium, we're actually going to have sliding glass doors. So these will be pocket doors that will be glass, and they'll open up. And so that's what these are, and that'll be from both sides, from the living room as well as from the game room. And then going into this room, a couple cool things. Number one, it's vaulted, and I'm really pumped about that. There's no more strange room attached to what would have been red room. There's now a vaulted ceiling as part of this room. And the other thing is, everything's set up for communications and conferencing and workstations. So we actually ran Ethernet to the floor, so we'll actually have a big conference table powered and wired specifically for internet. That'll be in this room too. So we're pretty pleased about this one. It's be a nice study room for sure. All CAN lighting, all LED. Everything's insulated. All the windows are Andersons. I'm trying to think. This is a huge change. And I don't know if you guys looked through any of the other layout pictures or whatnot, but that door that I just walked through, that it's not even a door anymore, right? This used to be the open close kind of set up for, and I think realistically it was kind of here, and where this space is at this point used to be pantry, and obviously that's completely gone, and you now have the sliding glass door, which will end up going out to the 1,000+ square foot deck. This whole room got reshaped, so instead of being Woodbeck hall and the kitchen, it's now just one big, large, open concept kitchen, dining, everything, right? So we have a huge bar, again, all wired up for internet and electrical. I think there's at least 12 seats with the whole wraparound here. This whole kitchen dining hall is just completely different. The pantry got reallocated to the back end, and you'll notice between the pantry and the wall, there's no window, and that's because, and I don't know if you guys could tell when we were outside, but there's actually the stair access, the emergency stair access for second floor that runs along that wall. So of course, no window. The door in this room got moved and shifted. It's also got one of those cool decks. It's the wood that lasts forever because it's not really wood. And then the kitchen itself, sink, whatnot, sinks and vents and things are all here, so you still have your nice window. But then on the floor, you kind of see the grid for what will be the island. So it's cabinets along the wall, along the back, stove and powered hood here, and then the island will be this area. There will be a sink in this island. There will be a microwave in this island. As Rick mentioned, everything countertop-wise is quartz. You see that there's also a step down in the bar top. That is also for ADA compliance, so the cabinets and the counters all appropriate for that. All the spacing is compliant with wheelchair access. And like I said, it's just a massive kitchen that then wraps and opens up into the hall. So this whole space is going to be a really different room, but I'm excited about it. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and that's why I'm excited about it, because I think this is just going to be really fun and really beautiful, and easily can fit 50+ people with the bar and with the tables that will eventually come in here. We're really excited about it. Any questions on this one?
They go with a standard dishwasher, or what's going to happen for that?
Yeah, so the answer is yes, and there's a couple reasons for it, and Rick touched on it a little bit. So even though we're doing an R3 type of build in an R1 zone, one of the things that we found was that if we went commercial, it was going to add about $10,000 to $12,000 of makeup, return air, grease traps, and things like that for a commercial compliance, including the separate fire suppression system in here for like a halon system. When we actually looked at what was being used and what was being utilized, we found that a 30-inch standard residential stove is actually more appropriate for the usage for the guys that do live here. We found that 3 to 4 microwaves is also more appropriate too. So we'll have 3 to 4 microwaves, and then the standard stove, hood, dishwasher kind of setup. So I know previously there wasn't even a dishwasher ever. There was the 3 basin thing. But yeah, we are just going to go with the standard residential type of dishwasher. And then I will say the one commercial item that we will have is going to be the refrigerator. We're going to have a 49, either 49 or 52, I can't remember exactly which, refrigerator, just a standard double door commercial type refrigerator that'll kind of sit over by the duck chase with then a stand-up freezer that will actually live in the pantry. And then we'll actually have a couple more smaller, we'll say beer fridges or wine fridges, that type, that size, that will actually live in the bar space. I think there'll be 2 of those, and then a dedicated ice maker that will actually live in the bar.
This solar firmament?
Yes. Yeah, it's not so much that one that I'm more that's disappointed. It's this one. The dilemma is that this is a huge space to try to carry that beam load, and we got away with it with as much as we could, but at the end of the day, we had to have it. And actually, this, not that I'm going to go into the basement, but this particular pillar actually drops, and it's right above or right in the doorway going into the new basement, into that separate room with all the yellow blocks. So if you actually were to locate this is right in that middle of the doorway. So that cinder block wall had to be reinforced and steel added to it so that this beam could actually be carried properly. Fun times. All right, anything else in this room? If not, we'll go upstairs. Okay. Yeah, because I really don't feel like going into the basement. I think we lose cell service at that point is part of the reason. We've got it covered right now, and I think I mentioned it. If I didn't, the gas log fireplace will be here. And then actually the other thing that'll be kind of fun, and you can't tell, and probably you'll never be able to tell, but we actually already have the low voltage drops in the ceiling so that we can actually run a projector over the fireplace. So instead of doing a TV in this room, there'll be a roll-up screen and a projector that sit above the fireplace, so that if and when TV is in this room, it will be that. And again, everything, is LED can lights. The whole house is obviously forced air and heat. I don't know if you guys can see the giant green power box outside, but that we actually have a dedicated service from the city for the consumers. Got a ton of water, a ton of gas, and this whole thing's just been delightful. All right, so as I go up these stairs, again, it's flat. Huzzah. No weird stairs. So going into what used to be new wing, everything's kind of been resized and reproportioned, and insulated appropriately. Off to this side is the now going to be new bathroom. I know you probably had more involvement in that reconstruction at the time, back in whatever year that was, 05, 04 time frame, I'm guessing. 06, sorry, I was way off. So obviously we get to redo it again, which is awesome. What we did do this time is we actually went from the 3-head space for the showers. We actually divided it and went just 2 heads. And there's a good reason for that. And one is that the handicap bathroom that we walk through, it has its own roll-in shower. But then the bathroom on the front side of the house where the oval window is, because that's a bathroom, has its own shower as well. So we've got at least 4 heads spread throughout the house. So not everything's living in this space. So that helps us.
Nothing left in the old basement?
So we've futured it. So we originally talked about having a 5th head down there. As Rick mentioned on the call, that whole shower pan got skived out and carved out, and it's completely flat and clean at this point. We've talked about it and set it up for a future to have a fifth head if we ever get to that membership size. But if and when we were to do that, it would be just a fiberglass, kind of unit that comes as an all-in-one. So we've got the piping for it and set it up for it because it's easy and cheap to do it now. But I don't believe we'll have that fifth head installed at this point. 2 toilets, a urinal, and then 3 sinks with their own cabinets will be here in addition to the 2 showers. And then I'm not going to go through them all, but 1, 2, 3 bedrooms on this side, and then another 2 on the opposite side, with then, as I mentioned, the emergency access door, straight shot out. And then, Tom, if you come all the way down here and then flip around, what you'll be able to see is then that oval window. So again, showing off the flatness, but also a straight shot all the way out to that beautiful oval window, if and when all the doors are left open. So going then to what we'll call the old side, going to be an open railing, which is again different, kind of fun. Off to what used to be New Ohio. 3 windows in this room, so really bright, really airy, fun room. Closets realigned, resituated, and just completely insulated. This whole house, I mean, you'd be amazed at just like the temperature in this house right now, as well as the noise. It's incredible. Biggest room change is probably what would have been red room. As we go in here and duck under the roll insulation. They haven't yet done the spray. No, they haven't done the cellulose yet. That'll come after, I'm sure, the drywall. This room only has the 1 window, which is fine. We think this room can probably house 4 guys easily. But again, no longer is there access to any sort of weird space above the solarium because it is now vaulted. It does still have a strange space, keeping in our tradition. That's all closed cell spray foam. So I'm sure not officially, but I'm sure that'll probably get used. We'll drywall it off, of course, but secret passageways and whatnot are always fun. So this is probably the biggest room and biggest change to the rooms. And this is obviously, for those that know, this is where the incident actually started in this specific corner. So obviously this is totally changed with roof line. You saw that with that angled cellulose blown or closed cell foam that's up on the roof line. This, like I said, this whole roof area was completely reconfigured and set up for better drainage for sure. So for those that were involved in roof projects of previous, this area is different now. I mentioned that this bathroom has got a shower. Again, another big change, whereas previously I think there was a closet in this area where now the sinks will live. Urinals up front here, 2 toilets that actually work over on this side, another urinal, and then its own dedicated single head shower. So this bathroom totally got reconfigured and redone. And then again, kind of what Rick said is we'll probably end up taking some sort of a stained glass or printed off transparent crest or something that will go through this oval window. It's, pardon my crass language, but it's like perfect butt height. So I'm sure at some point there might be butt prints on the window. That's where I'd be hesitant to have like a stained glass or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being slightly immature. Slightly. And then more bedrooms. We've got I don't even remember what this room is called. Thank you. Purple room. It is now reconfigured. And then are you sure that was purple room? I thought purple room was on the front side of the house. Either way.
You're in purple room right now. That was expressway on the other side.
Yeah, expressway. All right. So expressway is a little redone. Its closets are a little resized. And then purple room got chopped in half and reconfigured. The other big change as you continue down, obviously no 3rd floor. There's no 3rd floor stairs. This goes up to nothing. There's no up. But this I think, did we have a window in this stairwell before? I'm not sure we did. memory's fading. But either way, there's a window that looks out to backyard, and then obviously, wider. It's much wider and less steep stairwell going down / up. And then the weird odd space that I don't even remember. It was kind of that weird access to storage is now going to be a dedicated closet, so it's all insulated in this section. And then it also has a strange space kind of tucked away over those bedrooms. If you remember, I showed the closed cell foam that, it's another dungeon. I showed the closed cell foam in the rooms below, and that's why. It's because it's a unused, uninsulated space. That's why we foamed the half of the ceiling of those other bedrooms. And then the maid's rooms, again, closet changed its location and just reconfigured. And then the other maid's room, closet resized. And the big change in this room is the dormer windows, or those strange, I think that's what we'll call them, is the dormer windows, are gone, right? So now it's a huge open square space as opposed to the slanted roof line that came through here. And this room really does have some good views going out to the shed and to the rest of the yard, as well as to then that emergency access. You can kind of see that protrusion of a door on the backside. That's the emergency access stairs that come out the backside. I don't know if I mentioned it, but of course, we've got the full fire suppression system. So as I've walked through, if you've seen the orange pipes, those are all for the sprinklers and the heads. And then just to comment to it, every single room has two Ethernet locations, 2 ports in every single room. Every room, as I mentioned, is R3 is what we have to build it to. So every plug is a 20 amp plug. Everything's on dedicated circuits. We actually only have 2 breaker boxes. I know that seems amazing, but there's only 2 very large breaker boxes for this entire structure. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. The furnaces will live in old basement. The water heaters, we've got 2 75-gallon water tanks, and those live in the new basement, just because there's going to be more water usage on that side. So we tried to centralize. I shouldn't say centralize. We tried to locate appropriately where the mechanical utilities would go again. HVAC going on the other side, and water on the new side. The other thing that you'll note is all of the ducts and the heats on the new wing on the second floor is all through the ceiling. So all the returns are actually at base height. And you can kind of get a good shot of that in the hall here, where you see all the insulated ductwork through the attic space. And again, everything's sealed, LED can lights and whatnot. What else? That's kind of the house. It's my live walkthrough. Any questions?
With the water heaters, are you going to have the circulation system?
No, we do not believe we are going to do any of that. I think it was considered at one point, but because really the main points of use are right above it, I don't think there was need for it.
Okay.
I know you said you didn't make any changes, or you weren't going to go down to the basement. Did you? But did you make any changes in the basement?
Yes, but only on the old basement side. We can go down there. I just don't know how good the lighting is.
There's still 2 separate basements, all right?
Correct statement. And actually, the crawl spaces in between, because we raised everything a block, the crawl spaces got obviously deeper. And when we had it in excavation form, we actually dug out all the crawl spaces, and then actually during the installation phase, you kind of follow me or stay right there. But really, we now have 3 crawl spaces. There's the one under this room. There's the one under solarium. They're not officially joined, but of course there's ductwork and travel space in between. And then there's now the crawl space under what used to be garage and Hall Shields. But all of those crawl spaces, we had Michigan foundation systems come out, and so they've all got heavy visqueen and insulation on the exterior block. So vapor barrier on the dirt and insulation, and then also surrounding block all got insulation. So it's the quality of air in this house is just as good as it can possibly be. Like I said, we can try. I don't know how good the lighting is. If it's terrible, then tell me and we can come back up. But and again, we might drop cell service. Yeah, I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see down here. Chapter room, I think I've mentioned it before, is going to be done or work done after C of O, because otherwise it qualifies as a living space, and we don't want that point of C of O. But the window that was here, all the window wells got dug out by hand to help with the drainage, because if you guys, I'm sure, all remember, there used to be water shed through this front wall all the time, and for whatever reasons, those were filled up over the years. They've now been completely dug out. Those drains were actually scoped and cleaned. Those drains actually go to a central carafe here in this old basement, and then collect and then go. Actually, there's a pipe that runs under the house and all the way up to the back of the hill, and all that got cleaned out, scoped out. So that'll actually be for the front side of the house. But we're still, like Rick said, we're still going to dig the driveway down about a foot and regrade and re-level it, so we'll get rid of all the water problems. Chapter room will be built by the actives after C of O. So this whole room will be built in kind of a fancy library style. You can see the new, actually in this case, we actually got 2 rows of block that got added, because if you remember, it would have ended at this with the black ends. So this room actually got 2 extra rows of block, and then you've got the whole set of 12-inch floor joists, and everything's tucked in as much as they can. So this room got a lot taller. It will still have the ductwork for the new house, or the new wing running through it, so we'll have to be conscious of that. The room will be really nice. The fireplace is completely defunct, but we will be putting in an electric fireplace that'll look pretty nice, and it will still get some use. But we're not running gas; we're going to run electric down here.
How are you funding the chapter room then? Not through the rest of the funding of the rest of the house, I assume.
Correct. Yeah, the guys from Delta Chi Row have donated over $6,000 specifically for this room to be in their honor. Yeah, we're pretty pleased about that. They were very generous and drove their campaign pretty hard. Again, I don't know how good the lighting is in here, and unfortunately, it doesn't have lights at this point. But, and I don't know, let me see if I can grab my other flashlight. Let's see if this works. Barely. If we look, so if we kind of look on this wall, you'll see the 3 access points for washers and dryers. There'll be 3 washing machines on this wall, which would have been where the old tool crib would have been. This is that space. So we have 3 washer hookups, and then across this back wall will be where the 3 dryers will live. And if we can continue on that back wall, you'll see the bump out, where I think there used to be some windows. This is now the 2 electrical panels, and that's it. And then you have this massive nest of the Ethernet cords. Like I said, all those low voltage cords all collect here. So all the electrical, high voltage and low voltage, are in this central space. And then you've got the water inlets and outlets kind of over my head. No more really running into it. So the place where the boilers used to be is where I'm standing. And then the old shower / laundry tub section is over here, and obviously gone. And then the incinerator stack and things like that has all been cleaned up. And again, this whole room was a fairly big undertaking. As Rick said, they came in and they cut and skived all the whoops and swoops and hills and valleys out of the floor, and then floated in a leveler to really clean up this whole space. So we're really pleased with how this came out. It'll be a really nice workshop when it's done. I'm sure whatever the purpose will be, hopefully not storage, hopefully it's a utilized workspace. I don't know, maybe like 3D printers or, mills and lathes and drill presses and stuff like that. At least that would be my personal hope for it. So, but I think maybe there was a chapter office room at one point, which housed a lot of the low voltage. We still will have a dedicated room that is this space, but I don't know if it'll end up being used for that or what it'll end up being used for, maybe robes and things like that. Instead of actually keeping all that stuff in the chapter room, maybe it'll live in the side room. But a lot cleaner, smells a lot better, and a lot taller for sure. The integrity of this house is just incredible by comparison to what it used to be. And again, I apologize for the lighting.
Did a good job.
Any other area, any thoughts, any concerns? You know, Rick mentioned that we have to have a drinking fountain, and it'll come out at some point. You know, like I said, we have to give and get. Right now, this is the plumbing that'll be for that drinking fountain right, you know, here. And, yeah, I'm sure it'll go away as soon as it can.
What about a water bottle fill station instead of the drinking fountain?
Doesn't comply. We already asked that.
Well, I mean, could you put that in afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think actually, quite truthfully, we're putting an RO system into right next to the sink. So,
Okay.
I mean, we'll have still good drinking water regardless of the situation. But yeah, it'll be more something permanent as opposed to something that requires maintenance. The whole theme of this entire build has been low to no maintenance, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, even something like the roof, you know, all the roof was built to be a 50-year plus roof, right? So the sheet that was laid down was as thick as it could possibly be. It got clips at every junction point, and then the shingles are that 3D tab, and again, 50+ year rated. So the intention is to not have the maintenance costs for as long as we possibly can. In fact, quite frankly, if I did the budget properly, we should at least have the first 15 years of replacement, which would be, you know, in 15 years, it should be the appliances, right? You should have your possibly washers, dryers, and washers, dryers, and water heaters, and then your sinks or your dishwasher and your fridges should be all the first appliances that'll go in that 15-year time frame. And I believe I've got a second round of those set up in the budget to hold as money back, so that at least we get 30 years out of this build.
Awesome.
That's really good.
I tried to think ahead, I swear.
Oh,
I promise.
It's evident.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Is this chapter going to just cook for yourself? Is that what the deal's going to be?
Yeah, and actually, Tom, that's kind of how it's been for the last, oh God, I don't know how long, 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't employed somebody in a long time, and quite honestly, just the paperwork involved, you know, at this point to have somebody on a payroll and have health insurance and things like that covered and officially done, I think it would just be a little bit too much for for what's involved realistically.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Just to speak to that a little bit more, there's been a lot of discussion about having Cook come back into the picture of the house's finances when the section is able to be restarted, just because at that point it would be a lot easier to employ someone more of a year-round capacity versus that 3-month off, 3-month capacity.
Yeah. Kevin, off the subject of the house, but I didn't want to bring that up with the members, but whenever I was in your position, we proposed it to them, to National, and they were the ones that kind of said no way that they would reincorporate a third time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's it's an interesting conversation, and from a paperwork side of things, it would end up having to be an employee of the active chapter's tax status and not the housing corporation's tax status. Yeah. Right. So you could walk it, you could make it work, but it's not exactly clean. I'll say it that way, right? Yeah. So
kitchen's gonna look really cool when it's done. You guys, that's nice.
I'm excited for sure. It's pretty fun, and I know Rick mentioned the finances. We were really pleased with how we rebid and some of the guys that we got involved. We were able to get, and I imagine you're familiar with the Craft Made brand, but we actually got the Craft Made commercial line, the highest end capability cabinets. So everything's real wood, everything's soft close, none of the veneer shit. Like it's all hardwood and really nice. And we got it for the price less than Home Depot sells. So I mean, between the kitchen, all the cabinets, all the countertops, and everything done. I mean, it was less than $30,000, and what should have been a $75,000 spend. So, like throughout COVID, throughout this whole project, we've been bidding and rebidding and getting the right prices on the subcontractors again to manage it so that we do have money left in the rainy day fund, 30 years from now, and that's the intention. So it's been nice, and besides the fire suppression system that will cut our tax rate, we also have backup generators that'll be installed as well to maintain like the anything that goes out, right? Because the last thing we want is frozen pipes, because we had that before, and so everything's going to be set up in such a way that from an operating cost, we should be able to drop our operating expenses significantly. And I don't know, Tom, what it was in your time frame, but the last, I'll say 8 years, it's been about $30,000 to $32,000 a year to operate this from a tax and utility standpoint. Yeah. And 18 of that was insurance part of it. So we've already been working with the insurance company, same guys that we actually fought with initially. But we should be able to have insurance for less than $10,000 a year, so it'll profit, and we're really excited about that part of it. It's definitely in the suppression system and the backup generators. It takes a huge chunk of it out, so we're really pleased.
Well, it should be a great selling point as we get into the next semester, especially when people can start looking at their place and then getting new members in. So that's
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would think it would be an easy sell, and I think nobody expected COVID, obviously. Right. So it's one of those, how do you plan for it? But I think at the end, it's done really well.
Yeah, the other thing, Kevin, is the tax assessment, keeping that at a low level too. That's really going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about that earlier during the meeting. The intention is to try to get it locked in before November. But it sounds like from the city's perspective, they don't even do it until January. So we'll make sure that we're green in that metric, and realistically, everything goes to plan. We should be paying taxes on the old house with the new house capabilities and utilities, and that's what we want. Because otherwise, being on it, we go from $6,000 a year to $46,000 a year. We wouldn't be able to afford it. We wouldn't be able to afford to do this. So that's where we're really pushing to get things done. And we believe that with the progress that we've made, we should be okay. That, as well as with COVID hitting, there should be some leniency there. So still going to push it, still going to get it writing. And we believe that we should be in the good graces. I mean, we hired everybody local from the.
Are we going to have some rainy day money left over from the insurance settlement when this is all done?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
It would be irresponsible of me to spend every nickel and every dime. So yes, there's a targeted amount that'll cover at least the 30 years. I'll say it that way of operation.
I would say with the quality that you're putting into the house, you've done a great job to be able to do it all within a budget and have some left over.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, a lot of that's been, Rick. Rick has such an incredible wealth of knowledge and experience with local and not local and everything in between. He's pulled me in when he's needed to, but I mean, the type of, and again, I don't even know if you guys see it, but like these walls are 2x6s, right? So their insulation is actually an R21 as opposed to an R19, right? So we're even above what would normally be a residential grade for the walls. The floor itself is screwed and glued at every single joint. There's not a single nail in it, and it's an inch thick of what I think it's called like quiet floor or something along those lines. But it's incredible. There's no bounce. There's no reverb. There's no anything. Just walking in this building, it feels so solid and it's just a huge change. It's a really, really well built structure, and again done at an R3 grade, and so it'll be really fun. It's a really neat place, and I hope to have a grand opening party at some point. There was a hope that the Delta Chi Road get together in October. This is obviously a month or two ago, would allow for it, or at least a walkthrough. Obviously, that event has been postponed. But the good news is, technically, next year is our 65th anniversary, and so if we combine a grand opening with a 65th party, I think it'll be pretty fun. And I think that's something to put out on the calendar, and really, hopefully, at that point, progress will be made with the whole COVID situation, and we'll all be healthier and better for it. And we won't have concerns about bringing people out. Obviously, it's a huge building that's been well built and has 6+ acres, so we can have a party both indoors and outdoors.
Just don't ask me to plan this one, okay?
Oh, come on, Bob! I'll call you personally and ask you.
Oh no, I'll attend, but I ain't organizing it. The 50th was more than enough.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Although at least I don't have to rally the alumni from nothing to something this time around. So it's good to see that all of you guys are still active and engaged with the chapter. I'm really proud of that.
No, it's really, the engagement has been really, something I was really pleased to see, and even you guys just on the call really makes me happy. It's easy to kind of wonder what's going on, and so the fact that COVID hit and things like Zoom came out, there's a silver lining to that, and it's nice to be able to do a live video call and show it with clarity, and it's not just a conference call or a room or something. So we do have to be a little bit pleased with how things have progressed and how the alumni involvement has risen and gained in popularity. So we'll continue to do these. It's a fun project to sell, in my spare time for whatever other stuff I do besides growing a ridiculous beard, which I started growing it when the house burned down. So just to clarify, this is only 2.5 years of ridiculous growth. So apparently I'm Russian. So there's that. But
you shaving it at the grand opening will be a fundraising event?
Sure. If it brings in money, sure. Why not? So, anything else? You guys want to say anything else, or you good?
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll have another Zoom call in a month, and hopefully there'll be drywall up, and things will be even better. The hope is that we continue on and we continue with the engagement. We'll have some merchandise items. I don't know if you guys saw some of the designs for what's coming out, but I'm pretty pumped about it too, because an opportunity to get something for donation would be awesome to me. T-shirts and hats and koozies and all that sort of good stuff. So it'll be fun. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
In a month.
Miss you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.